Gravitas is an invaluable yet intangible quality for success. Speakers with gravitas get taken seriously and stand out from the crowd. You know when someone's got gravitas, but it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that they have and how they're doing it. You all have your own perception of gravitas. Some of you may think, I have gravitas. Some of you may have been given feedback that you have gravitas. And some of you may not have a relationship with the word at all, and that's okay. My invitation to you this morning is to spend some time with me to explore how gravitas is more than just a narrow definition that you may think, and that in fact it could be one of the keys to standing out as a speaker on stage. So why is gravitas central to my work? Why have I made it my life's work to focus on this word? Let me explain. When I was 27 years old, and that's quite a long time ago now, I used to work in PR. I was a senior account manager in a PR agency, and I was tremendously ambitious. A lot of my identity was wrapped up in my career, and I desperately wanted to get to the next level. So it was promotion time, and I sat down with my manager, Neil. And he said, look, Antoinette, you're just doing brilliantly. Well done. You're ticking all the boxes on the job description. And I remember saying to him, look, yeah, of course I am, Neil. I've looked at the job description that I'm doing, and I've also looked at the job description of the job that I want to get. And yeah, I am ticking those boxes. But you know what he said after that, don't you? He didn't say but, because he'd been on all the management training that told him that you should never say but. He said, however, Antoinette. And this was really hard for him because we were really good mates. So it's really difficult for him. He said, look, however, Antoinette, you're not going to get promoted and you're not just going to join the senior leadership team. And I was like, well, why not, Neil? Why not? And he said, well, you need to work on your gravitas. And I remember the feeling to this day. It was a really challenging experience because I knew that I was doing all the right things, but there was something missing in how I was showing up, something that was stopping me from progressing to the next stage. So bringing the pragmatic soul that I am, I got the dictionary out. Actually, it wasn't a dictionary, I'm not that old. I Googled it, obviously. and I thought, okay, so what does it mean? Because what was going through my mind was, well, how am I going to get this thing called gravitas? Can I go out and buy it? Can I get it in a shop? Can I sprinkle it on my cornflakes? Maybe it's like the Harry Potter cloak, where when I wrap this thing called gravitas around me, I'm going to exude this thing called gravitas. But it wasn't like that. So I look it up, gravitas, gravitas, and it said, weight, seriousness, a statesman-like quality. And I thought to myself, how's that going to work? Am I going to have to become more weighty? Do I have to be serious? And what's this statesman-like thing? It sounded very Churchillian. So I thought, do I have to start deepening my voice? Maybe smoking cigars? What is this? Feedback is a marvelous thing, isn't it? It can be tremendously beneficial. It can give you tremendously useful information to progress and develop. But it can also be extremely destructive Anyone had feedback that has made you feel really small? And there's a real tension, isn't there, between wanting to stand out, it's the whole theme of this entire conference, and wanting to conform. A lot of the leaders that I work with, they get told, well, you need to be more assertive, be more confident, have more gravitas, or be less this, you're too loud, you're too much. And a lot of us speakers get told and believe, well, I need to step out of my comfort zone. I need to fake it till I make it. Fake it till you make it. Please don't fake it till you make it, because it's the most direct route to imposter syndrome there is. And so feedback can be tremendously useful, but really destructive. And there's a real tension between wanting to stand out, wanting to get there and be loud and be noticed, and at the same time, wanting to fit in. I don't know about you, but all the conventions that I've been to over the years, I've had that tension. I want to be noticed, I want to be recognized, I want to be significant, but I also want to be liked, I want to fit in. So back to this word gravitas. 15 years later, by this time, I was running my own business, and I was an executive coach. And I remember one particular time in Birmingham, and I was working for an investment bank, and I had 3 2-hour coaching sessions in the diary. And each time, the executive came in, sat down, and each time I said, okay, so what would you like to work on today? And every single person said, look, Antoinette, I'm being told I need to work on this thing called gravitas. Do you have any ideas? And that became my sign. That became my quest to go out and find out what this word actually meant and turn it into a framework that people could use to find their own version of it and accelerate it for themselves. Because I remember how difficult it was to get that feedback. And I remember the question that I was asking myself, well, what is this thing that is stopping me from progressing? Because Neil couldn't tell me. And so I went out and I decided I would decode the word. And what I wanted to make sure was that it was not just about seriousness, because I thought, do we want to be serious all the time? Is that going to work in corporate world? And I thought this statesman-like quality in this diverse, inclusive world that we live in, well, what is that? And so I went out and I conducted research and I observed leaders from all walks of life globally, from all different sectors, to look at what this quality of gravitas was. And based on that research, I realized that gravitas needed a completely new rebrand. We needed to bring it into the 21st century. It was no longer about just weight, about just seriousness. It wasn't about being Churchillian and statesman-like. What I found, in fact, based on my research, is that gravitas is made up of a number of different component parts. It's a quality within individuals, but it's based on a series of skills that you can all learn and develop for yourselves. Because I realized that there is as many versions of gravitas as there are speakers in this room. And so if you're wanting to accelerate and find your own version of gravitas, the 6 qualities that I identified were, firstly, there are 3 internal qualities: self-awareness, expertise, and authenticity. So you need to know who you are as a speaker. You need to really understand what your strengths are, but also your areas of development so that you can do something about that. You also need to develop the skills of emotional intelligence so that you can read the room and adjust to how you are showing up. Also, you need to have expertise. Expertise is the evidence that people use to rate you. So it's important to keep developing and keep progressing as a speaker. But it's also crucially about your ability to express it, because you could be the most amazing expert at what you do, but unless people hear you doing it, you're not going to stand out. So you need self-awareness, you need expertise, you also need authenticity. Why do we need authenticity as speakers and as individuals? And I talk to my leaders that I work with in corporate organizations about this. Why do you need authenticity? Because you can tell when someone's faking it, can't you? And so it's important to develop your self-awareness so that you can authentically bring yourself to the stage. So those are the 3 internal qualities that as speakers we need to develop. And then there are 3 external qualities as well, qualities that mean that we can then communicate with the outside world. So we need presence. And to have presence, we need to be present. We need to be focused. We also need that visibility. And there's a number of different choices that we can make to decrease and increase our visibility. We also need connection. And what's been beautiful during our time so far together is that we've been connecting, and you'll continue to do so whilst we're at this convention. Connection is what enables you to take your expertise and demonstrate your expertise and your gravitas and share it with people. So connection is about being strategic about your networking, but it's also about being able to connect with others. And then finally, it's the ability to project. And this is where your voice comes in. We need projection when we're on large stages like this. We want to be able to reach the people right at the back of the room. We want to be able to beam out our light and ensure our expertise is experienced and witnessed by as many people as possible. So those are the 6 qualities that I identify when it comes to gravitas: self-awareness, expertise, and authenticity were the internal ones. And then presence, connection, and projection were the external ones. So based on that framework, I wrote the book, Leading with Gravitas. That's the 2nd edition that James has just shown you. So I wrote the book, Leading with Gravitas. And at the same time, just before going to publishing, I realized there was still something missing in my research. So I went back to the word. I went back to the word gravitas. And I realized that, in fact, the word itself had the secret within it. And because you've all been sitting here since 9:15, I know you've done a few standing ovations, which is marvelous. But I want to share with you the opportunity to experience what gravitas feels like, embody it. And so if you're willing and able to, please do all stand up. And if you don't want to stand up, it's absolutely fine, because you will absolutely be able to feel this regardless. And so what I realized was this word gravitas. We've got people stretching. Yes, please do. There are 2 words within the word gravitas. The first word is the word gravis. And did you hear how when I said the word gravis, my voice naturally went down? I didn't have to become like Churchill. My voice naturally went down. And so what I'd love for you to do for now is to become aware of the weight of your body. Yeah. The natural weight of your amazing body, and ground yourself. Become aware of the gravity that is continually pulling you down. And feel what that feels like. Gravis. But the second part of the word, gravitas, means vita. And what does vita mean? Life. So you've got the grounding of gravis, but you've also got the life of vita. And now I want you to become aware of your life force, the lifeblood that is continually coursing through your veins and enabling you to live and enjoy your life. So gravitas itself, I realized, based on that, it holds within it the key to gravitas. It has the gravis that grounds you, but it also has the vita that lifts you up. Okay, take a seat, please. And so what does this mean for you as speakers? Well, know that to develop your own gravitas, you can find it within you. If you connect with your life force, you're allowed. Be loud, be strong, be vibrant, have vitality. But also know that you can connect with your gravis as well. You don't have to be serious all the time to get taken seriously. You can be grounded and you can be lifted at the same time. And when you connect with both your gravis and your vita, what happens is that you can connect with your own voice and use it to get heard. Thank you.